Hi, this is Miss Andrea, and I'm here at EcoStation and the Children's Museum of Houston, and I am going to teach you how scientists figure out animal populations, or one of the tools that they use. So I always hear students say, what do I need math for? I don't need math, I don't need this. But actually math helps in a lot of stuff, and no matter what you go into, you're going to use some math. So you might as well enjoy doing it, because math is fun. So I'm going to teach you how scientists use math to figure out, like here at EcoStation we have a pond and there's fish in that pond. How do we know how many fish? We can't go up and say like, can I count you? How many people live in your house? We can't do that, right? And if we try to count a fish, we count it and then it moves on and we're like, did we already count that? It's impossible. So scientists have created different formulas to figure out how to find out the population in an animal sample. So they basically have an area that they're looking at. The technique we're going to use today is mark, release, and recapture. And what we're going to do is we're going to catch a certain amount of fish. We're going to mark them and release them back into the fish population. And then we're going to do a sampling again where we catch them and we see how many fish we caught and how many of those fish are marked. So if we were real world scientists, we would not want to leave any kind of mark on that fish that might might change its life. So if it was like a white fish and we put a big red dot on it, now everybody could see it, right? If it used to blend into the background. So we don't want to put anything obtrusive, but since we're just doing this I'm just showing you how to do it, I am going to use some very colorful fish. So today I'm using goldfish and colored goldfish to replace the ones that I take out in the first sample. But you can use anything. I used also some beads. You have all the yellow beads and then replace them with the colored beads. I'll show you in a minute. Or you could use beans or rocks or whatever you would like to use. So the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put my fish into the pond. So I'm going to take first my goldfish and I'm going to put a pretty good number of fish in there. Let's say like that. And then what I'm going to do, and what scientists do, is they do what is considered the first sampling. So they take their net and they go through, this is my net, little cup, and they put the fish out and then they count them. How many fish do we have? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So we have 20 fish. Now these fish, they are going to be replaced and marked. So rather than using a marker, I'm going to put those to the side. Now, as a scientist, normally I would say don't eat your science experiment, but you don't want to leave these anywhere where your counting is going on, so you can eat them, or you can put them on another table or throw them away because you don't want to get them mixed up. So now I'm going to replace those 20 fish with colored fish. So I'm going to count out 20 colored fish. So I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 right there. I'm going to get a couple more. Another bunch. And we have 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now what I'm going to do is, now that I've marked all my fish, I'm going to put them back in the fish population. And I'm going to mix them all up. Now, if you don't have the self-control not to look when you take a sampling, then you can put them in like a brown paper bag where you're not looking. I have pretty good self-control, so I am going to leave them in here. I'm going to mix them all up. The fish have all gone all over the pond, all over the pond. And now I am going to take my cup and I'm going to do another sampling. So I'm going to count the number of fish that are in here and the number that are recaptured. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So what I'm going to do is, my original sample was 20. So I'm going to put that here. Oh, not very dark. Now, I just did 24. So that's the number of fish that have been captured in my sample, 24. Out of that, 3 of them were marked. Now I don't like that 24 is not very dark. So the way that we figure this out is that we take the number of captured fish, 24, and we multiply it times the number of our original sample, and then we divide by the number that's marked. So 3. That's not a very good 3. I'll do that math in a minute. Now, we're going to do this 10 times. And the reason is, the more times you do it, the more accurate it is. We're never going to get exactly. So if you look at the fish, I'd like you to take a guess. Do you think are in here? Take a guess and write it down. And then when we finish, I want to see how close that you got to the number of fish. Because that's the problem, right? We can't tell in the wild how many fish are there. So this is the way we're going to do it. I am going to do the samplings. I'm going to speed it up so you don't have to sit here while I do that, and I'm going to do the math real quick, and then I'm going to talk to you about the accuracy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do several samplings. So you're not going to hear me for a minute because I'm going to do these real quick so that you don't have to sit here and watch me do. Okay, gotcha. So what we did was each sampling, we did the formula, which I have here, which is the number that we originally caught, which was 20, multiplied times the number that we caught in our sample, divided by the number of fish that were marked in that sample. And they did it all the way down. Now you notice the numbers are fluctuating, right? Sometimes they're 300, sometimes they're 87. And this is the reason to do lots of samples. And then I just took all of the results from that formula, and I added them all up, and I divided by 10 because that was the number of samples we had to find the average. So the average is 178. So it tells me that my population is close to 178, if not 178. So there is always a margin of error, but it more or less tells you it's a lot better than trying to go out there and count each one of those fish by yourself. So this is when scientists do large populations, this is one of the ways that they find out more or less what's in that area. So the big things here is that you need to have, you need to do it all within a certain time frame because you don't want fish to die or be born or anything like that that changes your sample. So I think it's pretty accurate. I did this yesterday with about this much, and I had 188 fish. So we just averaged 178. So I think it's pretty close. And this is about what I had yesterday. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what it is that scientists do out there and how they figure out some of the animal populations. I love the thought of working outside. Can you imagine being one of those scientists that goes out into the mountains and figures out how many butterflies are up there? I would love to do that. So if you're interested in that, pay attention to your math. You didn't have to come up with the formula. The formula is already there, but this is just an instance on how math is used with scientists studying animal populations. So I would like to take a minute to thank our sponsor, ConocoPhillips, for this project today, animal sampling, and we find out how scientists use math and figuring out how many animals are out in a certain area. This is Miss Andrea. I am signing out.